our website launched yesterday, sold about $6,000 worth of gaming PCs in about an hour, which is pretty ridiculous. And because most of these builds are built during the Thirsty Thursday live streams, a lot of my YouTube audience doesn't even see some of these creations. Like, I really like this mid-range white and purple TEM 105F and GTX 1080 PC. This was actually the most difficult pricing of any of them, but my YouTube audience doesn't even see it. So that's why I want to quickly review all of these, and then I'll post this to the YouTube channel. So these are the 8 builds that sold worth almost, I think it was like $5,850 in about an hour, honestly. And I just want to go through all of them really quickly. Feel free to post your comments while I'm talking about it if you guys have any like critiques and feedback of the aesthetics, the pricing, or whatnot. But yeah, let's just jump into it. This first one did actually make it. Let me zoom in here a little bit. This one did make it to the YouTube channel. This was a $450 build guide that I did, and this is rocking the Ryzen 3 1200 GTX 970, and that's inside the Matrix 40 case, which I really like. Now, a lot of people told me this, and I obviously noticed it beforehand. I don't know why I didn't feel the need to make the correction, but I really don't like how I kept the WD Blue SSD in there, because like I would not ridicule, but like I would definitely comment if somebody was submitting this build about this blue SSD. Like, that looks very, very ugly. So I don't know why I didn't put an M.2 heatsink on there. I even have them in the studio. I don't know what I was thinking, but regardless, for $450 or the $500 that somebody paid on my website, they got a pretty solid PC. Now, there is a slight bottleneck in extreme CPU heavy games, which we saw in Elden Ring, actually. Elden Ring was the only one, I think, that we really saw the bottleneck for. But that 1200 isn't a meta pairing for a GTX 970. I would recommend going up to, like, if you're sticking on first gen, at least like a 1400 or so. But regardless, like, the aesthetics are on point other than the WD Blue. And I also didn't have an IO shield on here, which is kind of unfortunate. But still a pretty solid build. Somebody got $500 for that. Sakito says, oh, it was a few games. Okay, so we did see the bottleneck for a couple games on that. But yeah, that was the first one. The next one, we had the NZXT H1 build, which this was obnoxiously priced. This was the i5 10400 and RX 6600 XT. Now, I did buy that 6600 XT for a really good price at the time. It was on sale for Best Buy, or on Best Buy, for $420, which at that time, the cheapest 6600 XTs were like $500, and even that was a pretty solid deal. So this was a good deal for me, but this was also really good because this i5 10400, the Asus Strix motherboard, the Corsair Vengeance 32 gigabytes of RAM, those 3 parts I pulled out of a system that was sitting in my house, like, collecting dust for over a year. So it was nice to get them out of the studio. And for $800, my buddy, who I used to work with in the Air Force, actually bought this PC. So he got a very, very good deal for just $800. So the other one he bought was this one. He bought the H1 build for his nephew, and then he bought this build for himself. This is the i5 12400F and RTX 3060 build for $1,100, which was my most expensive RTX 3060 build, but the aesthetics kind of make up for it. So obviously, we're looking at the Montech Air 100, which this is my last Montech Air 100 ARGB case that we had in the studio. So I'm kind of sad to see that go. But the thing that I really love about this build, and I want to do again, is I matched the aesthetics of this Intel stock cooler with the color scheme of the entire build. So you like, this Intel stock cooler looks super ugly inside of any build that doesn't utilize teal. Pretty much unusable in my book, but this white, black, and teal looks really, really perfect for that stock cooler. And I wasn't 100% sure that it would all like tie together nicely like it did, but yeah, super successful. But it's just got the all black RTX 3060, that Glowway RAM in there, which is my new meta for white DDR4 RAM. Really like this one. Yeah, that build is beautiful. Thank you. I really like this. I want to use this as a template for budget 12th gen gaming PCs. That way I can utilize the stock cooler that it comes with. The Asia Horse Teal extensions just are perfect for that. I really want to do a build like this again here very soon. So this is the last build that's sold. This one took about an hour to sell. This is a 10105F and GTX 1080 build, which rightfully so, $950 is actually a pretty, it's a good price, but it's like a standard price, I would say. I don't know what I was thinking. I was trying to make all of these builds really obnoxiously priced. This one isn't obnoxiously priced, which is definitely why it's sold last. But it's still a really good build. As you can see, the aesthetics are on point. This is in the DIY PC IDX 1-W-ARGB. A lot of you told me to try this case, and I really liked it because it comes with the front mesh panel here with the RGBs, and then it comes with the one rear RGB fan. And just that alone is enough to take care of your RGB/aesthetic game, which I really like. So you could repeat this template of just buying all white and all black components, and then you could change that RGB color to be whatever you want. This build is going to look really nice as a green build, as a blue build, you know, as a red build. All of the colors looked really nice. I just thought on camera purple looked the best. DIY PC has some meta choices. They definitely do for PC flipping. But yeah, 10105F, the 1080 that I bought off EVGA B stock, some YOLO white RGB or non-RGB RAM, which I probably bought before Glowway became the meta. I did spend a little extra money on the ASRock B460 Steel Legend motherboard, but that's only for aesthetics. I could have saved like 20 to 30 bucks and just bought an all black motherboard, but I really like just getting that little extra bit of white in there. But yeah, that was the fourth build, or it was the last build that sold, but the fourth one we're looking at today. This was the most obnoxiously priced build of the bunch that we sold. This was the HP pre-built that I used in the YouTube video for the $1,000 pre-built versus the $1,000 laptop. And this was indeed a $1,000 pre-built, and it had a 10400 and RTX 3060 in there, and I sold it for $600. And this was the first build that sold. It actually sold to an exclusive Tim, which I'm really excited about for. He could flip this if he wanted to. A 10400 and RTX 3060 is an obnoxious combo. I did fully give the disclaimer in that video that this PC is extremely not upgradable. All of these, almost everything you're looking at here is proprietary, to include the motherboard, the case connections, the power supplies. Like, well, it's not proprietary, but it's not an ATX size power supply. This build would suck. Like, you're only going to buy this build if those are the exact specs that you want. You can upgrade the SSD or HDD, obviously, but other than that, like, I would consider this a not upgradable PC. But a 10400 and a 3060 build for just $600 is the definition of obnoxious. Green motherboard, yeah. I mean, to be fair for this one though, the case is not see-through, so you're not buying that. You're not buying that build for aesthetics. But one build that you are buying for aesthetics is our entry level. This I think was the most obnoxious. This is our entry level black and white gaming PC with a 2400G and a 1060. It's not the most obnoxious because of the price of performance. Obviously, as a pre-built, it is, because this competes with, in terms of price to performance, some $800 and $900 builds, if you will. But where you're really paying this for is aesthetics. I wrote one thing that I started to do was I'm writing a handwritten note on all of the builds that we sell, and on this one I said this might be the best looking $450 build on the planet. Like, no joke, this looks ridiculous. I'm definitely stealing the template for this one again, but that white and black color scheme just looks so good. And lately what you guys have seen me do is this, what I'm calling the new meta power supply vinyl tactic, where you put the white carbon fiber vinyl on top of the power supply, and then you use the Asus sticker custom cut just to include that white part on there, and it just looks so good. And again, we got the Glowway Meta RAM, which only costs $58 for 2x8 GB at 3200 megahertz. I went with the white and black extensions from Easy DIY just to mix things up a little bit, and it's in the Montech Flyer, which does have an acrylic side panel, but for $450 I don't think anybody is complaining. Yeah, super clean, right? Was that? Yep, that was a Thirsty Thursday build. Yeah, looks really good. And of course, we painted the stock AMD CPU cooler and rotated it. And then these are just two up here white non-RGB fans that I had laying around. I would have used 3 of them if I had 3 of them. That gap here looks a little distracting, but again, $450, just absolutely ridiculous. All right, so for build number 7, this is our high-end black and white gaming PC with a 3700X and RTX 3060. Again, a 3060 build for just $800, which is ridiculous, but this is the build that I'm honestly the most ashamed of. So I was sent the Asa Elise 140 case. I don't have any problems with that. I thought that performed pretty well. The 3700X and the ASRock B450 Steel Legend, I basically paid nothing for. Not going to explain it again, but I bought that $300 box of parts, which just was a deal and a half, a deal of a lifetime. And that amounted to almost getting those for free. I had a Corsair. Oh, we switched out that RAM, actually. That was a mispost on, or a typo, or whatever you want to call it, on our part. That's not what that is. That's some T-Force RAM. But we got the EVGA RTX 3060 from B-Stock. It's got a Tier A C650 power supply in it. But the one thing I don't like is I was experimenting with those up here white LED fans. And I didn't know this, obviously, at the time. But these white fans have a purple tint to them, which just looks really bad with accurate white components. So we have the white power supply vinyl action. We got the white Asia Horse extensions there. There's white on the graphics card. And then we have RGB products left. And when they were set to white, that made the white in these RGB rings look, or non-RGB rings, look really, really purple. So what I did was just make everything purple, but then we kind of have like purple up top and then all white at the bottom. I don't like the aesthetic of this PC at all, which is why I was motivated to sell it for a ridiculous price, even more than normal, just because this is going to be a really tough PC. Like, I wouldn't be able to sit with this on my desk because you can't change the color of those ring fans. I think purple looks the best for everything else, but yeah, I really just didn't like that PC. Sam with the 10 bit, he says, whoops. Yeah, I just saw that now. I could have caught that as well. That's my bad. Painful with the 10 bit, he says, still a lot nicer than some other YouTuber builds. Yeah, that's true for sure. Painful. Yeah, okay, you already said that. Okay, and then the last build, very, very happy with the aesthetics of this one. This was on the Flippin' Friday episode number 10, where I take you guys through an entire process of flipping a gaming PC. This was a 10105F and a GTX 970. We sold it for $650. Pretty good, especially considering the aesthetics. This is inside the Cougar MG 120 RGB. Got a very budget B460M motherboard in here, some all black XPG Z1 RAM, a Be Quiet Pure power supply, which I did have extra, so I could put that on for the parts list for free, and then a WD Blue 500 gigabyte NVMe drive. I really, really love the aesthetics of this one, especially with that crazy loop here with the extension. So it didn't have a cutout at the bottom here, which you guys know I mentioned this in all my case reviews. I wish they would all put a cutout for the power supply cable going up to the graphics card. And I didn't like how this was looking coming out from the bottom or the side here like they normally do. And it's because this is using, oh, we didn't list it on here. Another mistake. Should have caught that as well. But this is the Aerenal, like AERENEL, I think, cable extensions. They're super cheap, but I really like the color of them because it matches the vinyl really well. And they are as tough of cable extensions as they get. They're super hard to maneuver. And once I plug this in here, it kind of just like naturally folded or like bent into this very unique cable extension position. And I really, really like how it turned out. I'm not going to ever try to repeat it just because I got kind of lucky. Like, I just like kind of let it do its thing, and I just let the cable extension make the decision for me. But I really like the aesthetic of that. But yeah, that is all 8 builds that we sold on our website launch for almost $6,000. in about an hour time frame. So of course, because of the aesthetics, because of the price of performance, just because of the prices in general, these builds went very quickly. And if you guys don't know what's up, we sell all of the builds that I assemble on Thirsty Thursday or the YouTube channel or whatever project I'm doing. I'll scroll through here so you can see the other prices of these builds. We sell them always on the first of every month, and they sell out very quickly. They've been selling out for several months now right away, and yeah, it's definitely the place to be. Now, the one advantage you do get if you are a Twitch sub or a YouTube member is I unlock the website to you guys an hour before anybody else. So for the past 2 months, I've actually been password protecting the website and then giving you guys the password in the exclusive section of our Discord. And every single month, we always have at least one exclusive by the gaming PCs before the announcement goes out to the public. This time, 3 of the PCs sold. It was 2 people because one person bought 2 of them, like I explained earlier. But yeah, it definitely pays to be in the exclusives if you are interested in buying one of my gaming PCs. But yeah, that's the recap for our April 1st launch of the 8 builds.